All righty. Welcome, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Adil Ahmed. I am an international admission counselor here at the University of Denver. I'm joined by my colleague, Michael Francisco. He's also an international admission counselor. We both work in the admissions office here. We work with prospective undergraduate students like yourselves who are interested in applying to one of our bachelor's or undergraduate programs at University of Denver or DU. So thank you all so much again for joining us this evening, as it is in Denver, Colorado, but I know it might be morning or very late at night for some of you all. So thank you for making the time to be here with us today. Um, I'm going to give a about a 30-minute presentation covering a lot of fun information about the University of Denver, a lot of helpful information. But first, we like to actually get a gauge on, where our audience is joining us from around the world. So if you go to menti.com and type in the code 41623861. You should be able to access this map, and you can actually drop a pin on which country or like where in the world you're joining us from. So feel free to take a minute or two to go ahead and do that. Um, we can go ahead and see who all is joining us today. Okay, so kind of all over Mexico, India, Philippines, Australia. Nice. Awesome. Very cool. Yeah, Canada. Awesome. Yeah, well, I hope you all can see just from the variety of participants we have joining us for this webinar. This really is reflective of the diversity you'll find at the University of Denver. We have students from really all over the world who come and study here, so we're very fortunate to work with and meet students from all over from so many different countries. So yeah, I'm going to dive in and talk about again just some high-level information about the university itself, even where we're located in Denver, Colorado, in the United States. But we'll also talk about academics, student life, the admissions process, financial aid, all of that stuff. So I hope by the end of this presentation, you have a better understanding of the University of Denver and how to apply. So what we like to start with first and foremost is a lot of you all are probably looking at a lot of different colleges and universities to apply to, and probably maybe even in like a lot of different countries, right? Or in different places. You're not maybe necessarily just looking at one city or one state or country. So why the United States, right? Why Colorado? Why Denver? Well, the US generally, or broadly, I should say, has almost 6.5 million international students studying. Over 1 million of them are in the US. So 6.5 million international students worldwide, and then a little over 1 million of them are studying in the United States. And that makes up 6% of all US college and university students. So despite what you may hear, despite what you might, see in the news, or assumptions you might have about the U.S., we really do want international students to come study here. We're always, certainly, the University of Denver is always welcoming to students from all different backgrounds, whether that's your country of origin or any other type of identity or background. Um, and then at the University of Denver specifically, we have about just shy of 1,000 international students. So about 200 of them are undergraduates, and then about 750-ish of them are graduate or like master's or PhD students. here at DU. They represent over 100 different countries. As you can see, kind of like our Menti map earlier, we had wide representation across the globe. Our student body has a wide representation across the globe. So we like to say that at DU, you're definitely going to meet, students from all over. And we really like to emphasize that international community aspect. So it's not just that you're coming to DU and then, we're going to show up empty-handed and not have the resources to support you. No, we want you to succeed academically, socially, in your extracurriculars. So we have some amazing resources that we hope can help you succeed at DU. And part of that includes, of course, student life. We have well over 100 different student registered organizations and clubs. One of my favorite facts about DU is our two most popular clubs are Alpine Club. So if you're interested in hiking or skiing, of course, Colorado is world famous for mountain sports because much of the Rocky Mountain Range goes through our state. Um, so Alpine Club, but also the second most popular club on campus is D&D Club. So if you play Dungeons and Dragons, if you've ever been interested in a role-playing game like that, obviously that's a very niche thing. But I think that just goes to show how diverse the interests and passions are among our students. You'll find many different performances on campus, affinity groups. We have a cultural center, our wonderful International Student and Scholar Services Office, ISSS. They will actually help you with obtaining a student visa. So any like visa or like immigration questions you have like that, they can help, as well as campus spiritual life. Some other fun facts about the University of Denver and our neighborhood. We're in a pretty prime location. So we're not in the city of Denver itself, like right in the heart of the city. We're about 10 or 15 minutes south of downtown or the city center. So we're in kind of our own neighborhood. It is a designated arboretum. As you can tell, it's right now it's very white because it's covered in snow, but and it's very cold here. But it is a very beautiful campus. It's very walkable, very easy to get around. It's not a terribly large campus. So we have students that ask all the time, do I need to have a car or a vehicle to live on campus or near campus? And the answer is no, you do not. DU is a very, again, pedestrian and even bike-friendly campus. As a student, you get a free public transit pass, so you can even take our bus system or our public light rail system to get to the city center. Again, it's about 10 or 15 minutes. The Denver International Airport is about 45 minutes. You can get out to the Rocky Mountains. Again, Alpine Club is a wonderful organization, student run, by the way, to join if you're interested in ever, going like hiking or skiing or any of those fun mountain activities. And then Denver itself is there's a lot going on in the city. I think when people outside the US think of US cities, obviously New York, Los Angeles, Chicago kind of tend to pop up in people's minds. But there is actually quite to do in Denver, quite a lot to do, that is. So it's actually one of the top 10 largest downtowns in the country. It's a large metropolitan area. So there are nearly 3 million people living in the Denver metro area. There are professional sports, concerts, art museums, and countless amount of amazing restaurants to try, parks. And then I think by far one of anybody who lives in Denver, if you ask them, one of our favorite things about this area is we get 300 days of sunshine each year. It very rarely rains, so you can expect some pretty excellent weather year round. Even in the snow, I know I've had students ask who are not from Colorado. How worried should I be about, the winters? How much does it snow there? The answer is it's really not that bad. It's pretty mild for the most part. The nice thing is we are at elevation, so Denver is known as the Mile High City. We're technically closer to the sun, so the sun actually melts our snow a lot quicker than maybe some of those like East Coast cities like New York or Boston. Some of the winters there can be pretty harsh, so it is pretty nice in Denver, and of course it makes for world-class, skiing and snowboarding opportunities, and of course other mountain sports. Um, so yeah, you can get a glimpse of kind of what type of weather, what temperatures to expect year round. I would definitely say for like the winter, so December, January, February, it definitely be smart to bring a nice winter coat, maybe a scarf, maybe gloves, things like that. And then definitely in, early fall, late spring, definitely over the summer, if you're here on campus over the summer. It can get pretty hot, so you can expect kind of, all four seasons that you can experience here in Denver, Colorado. Again, just to kind of reiterate some of the things I talked about our area, it's a very beautiful area, not just the city of Denver itself, but even the surrounding area. Again, we're just about 30 minutes to an hour away from the mountains. So um, in the city, dining, sports, art, concerts, and then in the mountains, um, hiking, mountain biking, skiing, snowboarding, camping, even. So there's a lot to do. And then talking a little bit about the university itself. So we have about a little under 6,000 undergraduate students and then just shy of 7,000 graduate students. We are a um, Carnegie Research One university. Excuse me. So what that means is that we are a doctoral degree granting university with very high research activity. We do have graduate programs like master's and PhD programs. And it's interesting that most of our students are actually in those programs, so they're grad students. But what I like to point out about us being an R1 university, with all of these grad programs, is that for the undergraduate students, that actually poses a really cool advantage because, as you'll see on some of the later slides, you get access to all of that expertise and all that research and all these awesome opportunities that your professors are engaging in. Primarily with their grad students, but even the undergrads kind of get a taste of all that stuff. And again, over 100 countries are represented across our student body. We do accept transfer students, so I'll talk a little bit about that through the presentation. But if you're currently enrolled in another college or university, you're welcome to apply to the University of Denver to finish your bachelor's degree here. 10% of our students are transfer. One of the most unique aspects about DU is that we are on a quarter system. So most colleges and universities are on a traditional semester system, two 15-week semesters in the fall and spring, traditionally. That's not the case here. We have three 10-week quarters. So the amount of time you're spending, in academic terms adds up to the same as most other universities that are on that traditional semester system, but it's just laid out a little differently. So for us, you have three 10-week quarters in the fall, winter, and spring. There is an optional summer quarter, but I will be honest, you do not need to take classes over the summer. Honestly, most students don't. They will take that time off, as most students do, to go on vacation, to, go visit family, do an internship, work, whatever you want to use that time for. You can definitely still graduate within 4 years and only, take classes during our traditional fall, winter, and spring quarters. There are two big advantages about this I like to talk about. One is you get a 6-week winter break. And obviously for international students, I think that's a major advantage compared to a lot of other colleges and universities because that gives you 6 full weeks from Thanksgiving through New Year's to, again, go visit family, travel, if you want to do an internship, if you want to work a job during that time. that's a really good time and break off of school. And you also get a 1 week spring break between winter and spring quarters. This gives you kind of a sample degree plan for, what just, a DU student might, what their like course load might look like. So this is a communication major, right, with a Spanish and business minors. We do have a common curriculum, so courses that all students will have to take regardless of major or minor. And then there's even room for electives. So please don't think that just because we're on like a different calendar system that it makes it necessarily harder, to finish your studies. No, in fact, most of our students actually double major or even like add minors and still graduate within 4 years. It's very common to see students do that. Um, the other big advantage of the quarter system that I wanted to talk about is you'll actually end up taking more classes than most other college and university students, at least in the US. Because again, in that semester system, they're 15 weeks each. So in a year, in an academic year, you're taking, however many classes per semester. But at DU, in an academic year, you're taking, classes across 3 different quarters. I've heard students say that this can be kind of a double-edged sword. If there's a professor you don't really like, the good news is you don't have to spend too much time with them because, trust me, 10 weeks flies by very fast. But on the other hand, if there's a professor or a class that you really enjoy, sometimes it is hard to, watch the time just fly by. And, before you know it, the class is over, and the quarter is over. But we have a very wide selection of majors and minors. So I'm not going to name them all. You can find them on our website. And if you have questions about them, please feel free to email us. We can give you more information. But just to give you a general idea, across the College of Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences, Daniels College of Business, the Corbell School of International Studies, our College of Natural Sciences and Mathematics, and then our Ritchie School of Engineering and Computer Science. We do offer well over 100 different majors and minors. We also have a School of Music. So really, I think across, there's something for everybody. And then in the classroom, I mentioned that we're a Research One university. 99% of classes are taught directly by faculty. So not by other instructors, not by teaching assistants, but by the professors themselves, most of whom have graduate degrees like a PhD themselves. So again, you're getting that expertise, straight from the source, not through like one of their students or one of their TAs. And in fact, most classes are pretty small, less than 50 students. Average class size is about 24, and the student faculty ratio here is 10 to 1. So you will definitely get that personalized attention from professors. I know a lot of students who maybe, if you're looking at like a bigger public state university, you'll get this impression that you'll sit in a classroom or your class will be in a lecture hall and it'll be a few hundred students. The professor is never going to know your name. No, that's not going to be the case at DU. The professors are each going to get to know you as an individual, how to best support you as their students. They're definitely going to know your name, your face, things like that, your strengths, your weaknesses. So you do get that like intimate, personalized attention that you'd find more at like a smaller liberal arts school. So I like DU in that aspect. It really is the best of both worlds. We are a mid-sized institution, so we're not. I like to think we're not too big, but we're not too small. We're kind of in that sweet spot in the middle, and we understand that academic success does not just come from within the classroom. Yes, we have world-class faculty, and we're a Research One school, all that stuff, but we also understand that outside of class is just as important to get that support. So we offer academic advising, career and professional development. All first year students will go through our Discoveries orientation. So this is your first week or so on campus. You'll get acquainted to all of our wonderful resources on campus. You'll know where to, go when you want to eat, where the library is to go study, where the rec center is to go work out, to exercise, where all of your academic buildings are, where your classes are going to be. So orientation is going to be a great way for you to get settled in on campus. We do have a health and counseling center. We do prioritize our students' physical and mental health because we know being a college student is not easy. You're going to be very busy. You're going to have a lot of, responsibilities and time commitments. So we want to do our best to support you as an individual and your well-being. Peer mentors, student success coaching, and even veteran services. And then just a little bit about some of the learning and success communities at DU. A few that I want to highlight. I don't want to go through every single one, but first at DU, so if you're a first generation college student, meaning if you're the first person in your family to attend college, first at DU is going to be a great resource. Equity in STEM, the Colorado Women's College Leadership Scholars, CWC, PLP, Pioneer Leadership Program, Leadership Studies. These are all the University Honors Program. These are all programs that you may be invited to apply to after you're admitted initially. All really great programs to be a part of. We do offer LLCs. I do want to mention LEP, Learning Effectiveness Program. So for our neurodivergent students or students with any kind of learning disabilities, LEP is a great resource. They've been around for, I believe, like 40 years. So they do excellent work on campus to support our students who need that kind of support. We do also offer student disability services. And yeah. Again, if you have any questions about any of these specific programs, feel free to reach out to us via email afterwards, and we can get you more information and get you in contact with the right folks. But we also emphasize experiential learning. So 80% of our students complete some kind of internship while they're a DU student. Again, we're Carnegie Research One or R1 University. Fun fact, we're actually the second smallest R1 university. Typically, you'll see that R1 designation for larger, like public state schools, just because that's where a lot of, larger like research grants and endowments tend to go. But even for a smaller school like DU, that's why I really like to brag about us, being in that sweet spot, not being too big, not being too small. We kind of are the best of both worlds. You get that small, like liberal arts experience, but with all the benefits of, being an R1 school. Our students logged 1 million hours of service last year, and then we have 4 maker spaces on campus. Just to give you an example, in our engineering building, if you're ever on campus, or if you even visit our engineering school's website, I would highly recommend looking up the innovation labs. It's like a whole floor of 3D printers. At DU, we really like to emphasize that it's not just, again, in the classroom that you're learning and growing. It's the hands-on experience that you get in the field that's equally important. Um, and I want to talk a bit about residence life. So we do have a 2-year live-on requirement. First years and sophomores are required to live on campus. We do offer an exemption. So if you have, let's say, like family who live within a certain distance from campus and um, you would like to opt to live with them for those first 2 years, you're welcome to do that. But for the most part, students are required to live on campus their first 2 years. We offer housing for transfer and upper class students as well, but we're primarily a residential campus for our undergraduates, again, for the first years and sophomores. There are affinity housing opportunities and on-campus dining options as well. Our 3 main on-campus residence halls are Centennial Towers, DeBond Family Residential Village, and Johnson McFarland or JMAC Hall. Each of these buildings or residence halls has its own kind of advantages. Centennial Towers is near our light rail station. DeMond is near our community commons, which is kind of our main like dining hall on campus. And then JMAC is near a lot of the academic buildings, so it's a short walk to, the engineering building or the School of Music. But I will say all of these halls are excellent places to live. They're all very modern, have all of the, amenities and facilities you would need to live on, on a college campus for at least 2 years. So um, definitely really, really nice accommodations. And then again, this is just kind of reemphasizing some of the student life that I touched on at the beginning, but um, would definitely want to also emphasize our sports. So we are in NCAA Division One school. We have 18 different men's and women's athletic teams. Um, Here you can see kind of our point of pride. We are a hockey school, so our men's hockey team has recently been undefeated. They just won their 10th championship. Um, we're a hockey school. We also offer other sports at other levels. So even if like you're not recruited onto one of our Division One sports teams, but you still really enjoy playing a sport, please consider joining one of our club sports or even one of our intramural sports. Um, we have a student fitness center, the Coors Fitness Center. It's a student rec center, so gym with strength, cardio, sports equipment, everything you would need or want. It's there for your disposal. Some fun traditions to keep in mind on campus: homecoming and parent and family weekends. Our winter carnival, which is actually coming up next month. Um, One of my favorite traditions, I think we're gonna talk about on the next slide. So just gonna roll right into that. We are actually the only university, to my knowledge, that has both a city and a mountain campus. So our James C. Kennedy Mountain Campus opened a few years ago. It's about 2 hours northwest of campus up in northern Colorado in the Rocky Mountains. It's over 700 acres of forested hills. It's very beautiful. So there's plenty to do. A lot of those mountain activities I hinted at or talked about earlier, you can do a lot of those here. So they're, I think, particularly known for rock climbing, via ferrata, um, camping, hiking, of course, horseback riding. I hear the food is really good. The accommodations are really nice. So one of my favorite traditions that I've heard about on campus is your first weekend at DU in your first year. You are all invited to come up to the mountain campus to basically get to know each other. So it's a great way to meet, to make friends, to meet other new students at DU. And I think it's just a fun opportunity to, get away from campus for a little bit for a weekend and enjoy the mountains. Currently, we do not hold classes up there, but I think there are plans to do that in the future. Currently, we do offer, or some professors are conducting some field research. But yeah, so that's Mountain Campus. And then the last little bit of the presentation is going to cover the admissions process. So DU is a great community to be a part of. If you're interested in applying, some important things to know are: one, we use the Common Application like many other universities and colleges do. So we'll ask for a personal essay, all of your high school transcripts, um, a recommendation letter from your counselor, meeting our English language proficiency requirements. For that, I will say the most common way is to submit a test score, and we do accept official TOEFL, IELTS, Duolingo, or Cambridge scores. So any one of those four is acceptable. There is a $65 USD application fee. We do offer application fee waivers. If you're interested, please email us or contact your counselor directly. And then we give you the option of submitting additional rec letters and test scores for the SAT and ACT. We're a test optional school, so we don't require SAT or ACT. But if you're a good test taker, if you want to submit your test scores for those, either of those, you're welcome to do that. We review applications holistically. One thing I tell students all the time is please don't think that it's just your GPA we look at. No, we'll look, we give just as much value to your essay, right, as your GPA. Please don't neglect the other aspects of the application. Um, I like to tell students your essay should be just as strong and impressive as your GPA, right? As your resume, as your list of extracurriculars, you know, as much as your recommendation letter, all those things. We do not have a minimum GPA requirement. However, to give you an idea of the type of student we look for and admit, last year the average admitted student had a 3.56 to a 3.94 unweighted GPA. So out of a scale of 4, 0 to 4, on a scale of 0 to 5, so a weighted GPA, they had between a 3.68 and a 4.0. And then again, we don't require the SAT or ACT, but if you're interested and curious, those are the middle 50% ranges for those test scores last year. And then just lastly, I would recommend scanning that QR code on the slide. That's actually how you can connect directly with your admission counselor, depending on where you live, where you study, so your specific city or country. Your admission counselor is going to be a huge support throughout the application process. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to them. And then we offer a few different options for when you can actually apply. So a few different admission rounds. Our early action and early decision one round, the deadline did pass for fall 2025, but it was November 1st, so just a few months ago. And then our regular decision and our second early decision deadline was just a few days ago, January 15th. Early decision is binding, meaning that if you apply and you're admitted, you are basically signing a contract saying that you're going to commit to come to DU. Whereas early action and regular decision are non-binding, so there's no like contractual agreements. Again, we do accept transfer students, so if you are already studying at another college or university and would like to continue and finish your bachelor's program here, you're welcome to apply by our priority deadline of April 1st or by the final deadline of June 1st as a transfer student. I want to talk about finances, probably one of the most important factors when you're looking at a college or university. So you can see here a breakdown of direct costs, tuition, housing and food, student fees, and health insurance, excuse me, and then a breakdown of indirect costs, books and supplies, personal expenses, excuse me, and transportation. Total cost of attendance for this academic year is just under $90,000. Please don't think that all, 5,800 or so undergraduate students at DU are each paying $90,000 because that's just not true. 99% of our students receive some form of financial assistance, and most commonly, that's in the form of grants and merit-based scholarships. So you're automatically considered for merit-based scholarships upon admission. Um, they can range from about $16,000 to about $33,000 per year. For transfer students, we even offer merit-based scholarships that can range from about $12,000 to $25,000 per year. Again, we don't have a minimum GPA requirement, but for transfer students, a 3.3 college GPA is kind of what we would consider competitive for admission and for merit scholarship consideration. Um, yeah, so next steps, um, I'm assuming some of you, or maybe even a lot of you, have already applied or are, interested in applying within the next couple of years to DU. So if you've already applied, these are kind of your next steps. You know, fill out the admission response form if you've heard back, and then we do have kind of an international or universal May 1st decision deadline. So that's kind of when, for really most schools, most universities around the world, you have to, give your answer whether or not you're going to attend their school. Um, Apply for financial aid, connect with your classmates on Zemi. DU is on the Zemi app, so be sure to look out for us. You can ask our current international students any questions you might have about coming to DU. apply for housing and any learning and success communities you're interested in. Consider payment options, and then submit your final transcripts as you finish up your last like semester or quarter of high school. And then for deposited students, so between May and June, this is kind of what you can expect. You'll get your new DU email set up. Um, you will finalize and accept your financial aid offer. You'll get set up in our DU Pay portal to pay tuition and fees and all of that stuff. You'll have to provide proof of immunization. You will get your DU photo ID. There is for Discovery's orientation, there are some online modules you'll have to complete, sign our billing agreement. There's a math advising tool, and then even a language placement exam. And then between July and September, um, if you're applying for transfer credit, that will kind of be finalized, and you'll be informed about whether any AP or IB, most commonly, if any of those scores from classes can count as college credit. For you for your bachelor's degree. You'll be connected and matched with a faculty advisor, and then, of course, register for classes, get your housing assignments if you're living on campus, which dorm you're going to live in, who your roommate's going to be. Be sure to order textbooks and all supplies you need for your classes, pay your fall quarter tuition, of course, move in. That's usually the first weekend in September, and then go through orientation and start your studies. And then we just like to end with, I know we're going a little over time, just end with a word about student success at DU, or rather, I should say after DU. So where has DU education taken our students? 94% of our students engaged with our career and professional development. So for like advice on how to write a resume, how to do a job interview, things like that. 89% of our students last year after graduation were employed or continuing their education, like in grad school within 6 months. And then we've even been ranked the 23rd best career services by the Princeton Review. Scan that QR code if you're interested in First Destinations report from last year. And then just a word about our, some impactful alumni. I think by far the most recognizable DU alum globally has to be Condoleezza Rice. She was a former US Secretary of State. She completed her bachelor's and I believe her a graduate degree here at DU at the Korbel School of International Studies. Greg Popovich, president and head coach of the San Antonio Spurs. And then even Michelle Kwan, famous Olympian figure skater. And we always like to say at the end of these presentations, we hope to see your all's names appear on the slide one day. So that's the value of a DU education. Yeah, just some fun, other fun accolades about us to share. 23rd happiest students, 24th most beautiful campus, 13th best college city, 21st most LGBTQ plus friendly. So yeah. And then we unfortunately don't have a student panel tonight, but we are happy to take questions. Mike, again, I'm joined by my colleague Michael. He is also an admission counselor, specifically for international students. So yeah, Michael, do you want to maybe like quickly just introduce yourself, and then we can get to answering any questions we have?
Yes, of course. Thank you so much for sharing that informative presentation and for sharing with our audience some of the great and amazing opportunities that are available on our campus and the amazing community that our students can find, as well as the lifelong friendships that they can build out here in Denver. My name is Michael Francisco. I'm also an admission counselor. I collaborate and work with ADEAL, and I support students and families in Latin America, the Caribbean, East Africa, and South Asia. And I appreciate you all for all the wonderful questions that you have shared in the Q&A. If you haven't done so already, please feel free to drop other questions that may have popped in your head during Adil's presentation. And some major ones that reappeared in the Q&A section included questions regarding English proficiency. The short answer is yes, we do require English proficiency automatically for all our international students. That will appear right away on your application checklist. However, we also offer exemptions. Some of those exemptions include uh, English being your first language. After we see that on your application, we will manually waive that. Also, when we get your high school transcript and we see that the primary language of instruction is English, and we see that you've also been studying there for the last 3 years. That is another qualification to be exempt. Another qualification to be exempt include scoring a 600 on the writing section of your SAT or a 25 on the ACT. Um, Another good question from the presentation is, what's a first year seminar? First year seminar is essentially a very special, fun, unique class that we offer at DU. Other liberal arts schools around the country also offer it, but what's unique about our university is that our professors have to apply in order for their class to be accepted as a first year seminar. So our professors are very passionate about the classes and topics that they submit, and oftentimes the first year seminar classes are small cohorts of 10 or under 20 students. So it's a very great way for you to develop a close-knit group of new friends during that fall quarter. And you also have a go-to professor that's going to support you in making the adjustment from high school to college level academics. On top of that, they are there to continue supporting you through that entire first year. And there are some great classes. One that comes to mind, well, I don't know the name, is an engineering class where students are engaged in designing various items. One of the things that they design as a group is they have to design a boat, and then they go to the athletic center, and they have to make sure that they can float across the Olympic-sized pool. So it's a very fun way to just learn some new skills and also make some new friendships. Another question that we received that I would like to answer live is um, what if you are over the age of 24 and you have been out of high school for 4 years? You can still, well, you are welcome to apply as a first year student. Something that I would also like to highlight about our campus is that you saw that we are um, kind of a mid-sized university having around 13,000 students. We have some graduate students on campus pursuing master's and PhD programs. But if you're looking to pursue a bachelor's degree, most of our students are going to be recent high school graduates. So many of them are going to be between that 18 and 21 year age range. But we also have students that don't fit that criteria that are studying on campus as well. But as long as that's not an issue for you, you're definitely welcome to apply.
Just really quickly, I'm gonna actually move to the next slide. This has our various offices contact info. So you all should get a recording, like have access to a recording of this presentation afterwards. But I would recommend if you're curious, if you have any burning questions about like financial aid or housing or student billing, please take a photo or a screenshot of the slides. You can reach out to those departments specifically.
Thank you, Adil. And also for students that are interested to learn more about our campus, Denver, or if you are going to be in the area, um, we offer both in-person and virtual visit opportunities. If you are going to be in Denver, Colorado, in person, we offer campus visits twice a day, Monday through Friday. For students that are far from Colorado or in various parts of the world, we also have virtual opportunities for you to connect with us. We have virtual tours. We also have Instagram like take live takeovers where our current DU students will kind of give you a glimpse of their world and their experience on our campus. And next week, we also have a very unique opportunity for you to participate in our virtual open house. So if you are interested in learning specifically about international studies or pursue a program in computer science, or you're interested about learning about our pre-health pathway here on our campus, or you're very passionate about psychology, all of these departments are going to be offering specific tailored information about their departments next week. So I definitely encourage you to sign up for one of those sessions. For students that have been admitted and are on the call, first, I'd like to congratulate you on your admission offer. Some of your next steps, we are going to continue sending you messages to provide detailed instructions, but if you have determined that DU is the place for you, your next step would involve to complete the admission response form on your application status portal. That will also bring a links for you to complete your tuition deposit. For our international students that need a student visa, as soon as you complete that admission response form, we do update your application checklist so that you can submit a copy of your passport, your proof of funding documents, as well as the financial verification form. And once we receive all these three documents, then we send your file to our friends at the International Student and Scholar Services team so that they can issue your I-20, and that will enable you to pay for your SEVIS fee record, as well as schedule your visa appointment. I would also like to highlight that for you to start this process, you don't have to submit the tuition deposit. Another great question. As an international student, if I get admitted to the U, will the university cover my travel expense from home country to Colorado, or would I have to manage it myself? So we do include in our cost of attendance, we include an estimate of an average that our students are expected to anticipate in terms of expenses from traveling from their home countries to Denver. Unfortunately, the university will not cover your travel expenses from your home country to the EU. Another great question on financial support. If, in case I receive low scholarship, can I apply for higher scholarship? If yes, what would be the steps? So during the admission process, the admission committee will review all the information that our students submit to us. As I've shared earlier, the academic history of our students carry the biggest weight in terms of determining the scholarship that we award our students. So the majority of the time, those scholarship awards are final during the after we offer you the admission. There is an opportunity for students to make a merit appeal. In order to make a merit appeal, you will usually need to present new academic information that the admission committee did not have. So for example, if you only shared with us grade up to 11th grade, and then during your 7 semester grades, during that first semester of your grade 12, you've shown a lot of growth and improvement academically, you're certainly welcome to make a merit appeal. The way that process works is you would contact your assigned admission counselor, whether that's Adil, our supervisor Suha, or myself, and then you would share that new academic information with us. We would submit that to the admission committee for review, and they would make a final decision. For students that are interested in visiting our campus, I am going to share a quick link. And when you land in RDU homepage, you are welcome to open the tabs section, excuse me, the visits section, and select to schedule a visit for undergraduate admission. That's where you would sign up for in-person visit. And what that consists of is you would participate in an information session, just kind of like the one you've seen today. After that, one of our very own current DU students would take you on about an hour and a half campus guide so that you can see the many buildings, the residence halls on our campus, and so forth. Another great question for students that are on an F1 visa, you are eligible to work. However, the employment is limited to the US campus. In addition to that, during your during your quarter, you are limited to working 20 hours per week. I will be honest, a campus employment will not cover your tuition expenses, unfortunately. It is mainly kind of a supplement for your daily expenses. Um, so unfortunately, it would not cover tuition expenses. For students that are continuing on our university, a great opportunity to consider is to work as a residential assistant. At the University of Denver, for example, students that work as RAs, they get to develop leadership opportunities, communication skills, problem resolution skills. But some great perks that come with that include free housing. And as you can see from visiting our cost of attendance, housing is a big expense in that total cost of attendance. In the common application, if you're still not sure what visa type you are going to hold, it is totally okay for you to say, I don't know what my visa is going to be. If you are anticipating changes to your visa, and then we do have a team specifically informed in supporting our international students with navigating the visa process. And for students that are interested in signing up for our DU open houses, we have shared communication. And let me see if I can find the link so that you can register for that. So give me one quick sec, and I'll be sharing that link in the general chat. And that way you can learn more information about the academic rigor in our individual departments, as well as learn about the opportunities. And I'll search for that now.
Yeah, while Michael looks for that, I'll just quickly add to his plug for our virtual open house next week. If you're interested in any specific academic programs, like if you want to learn more about, like the chemistry major or the history major, please consider attending those sessions. I don't think they're long. I think they're only about like 30 minutes, maybe up to an hour, but they're usually led by professors or staff from those specific departments. So if you have like more niche questions, right, like what time periods or regions do the like does the history faculty cover like in their like what are their specializations? That might be a good type of setting to ask those more like specific questions. And so I would definitely recommend check out the different open house webinars happening next week and over the course of the next couple weeks. It's not just next week, but yeah.
Thank you, Eddie. Also, I was able to find that link. I have shared the virtual open house in our chat, and it will start on Monday, January 27th, and go all the way through February 6th. And you can also see all the various departments that are going to be presenting each day. And you're not required to attend all of them. You can definitely pick and choose the departments that you want to explore a bit further. Another plug I'd like to share is earlier in the Q&A, we had students inquire information about scholarship opportunities. While our presentation focused heavily on merit scholarships, other opportunities that we have at the University of Denver include athletic scholarships. My colleague Adil mentioned that we are a Division I school, and we do have athletic scholarships. Some examples include hockey, gymnastics, golf, men's soccer, as well as tennis and basketball. There are over 18 Division I sports at the university. Those are the ones that I currently remember. But if you Google Pioneers, you will definitely find all our teams listed. And the way that process works is fill out a recruitment questionnaire form for that specific team, and that puts you on the coach's radar. The athletic scholarship process is handled entirely by the coaches. They will request information from you, and in addition to that, they will inform you of your eligibility for athletic scholarships. We also have the Lamont School of Music. If you are talented in music, the Lamont School of Music offers some great scholarships. They do require that students participate in an audition, and they do offer in-person and virtual audition options. Students are generally encouraged to apply during the regular decision round to be considered for those talent-based scholarships to the Lamont School of Music. And yeah, if I invite you to share any additional questions, and also know that this is not the only time. If more questions surface, you're welcome to contact us via email or give us a call. We're also available to connect with you virtually, and we're certainly very grateful for you taking the time to get to know more about the University of Denver, the community that we have here, the great adventures available in Colorado in general, and we're looking forward to supporting you in your journey.